Okay, so we talked last time about, we ended just about where we talked about the wood stove and we talked about your mother's cooking, and I wanted to go into that a little bit more about Grandma McCrae's cooking. You mentioned she was a good cook.
She's a very good cook. She, I'm positive she's won prizes from her cooking. Okay, now this is when we were young. It was pretty plain fare. I mean, it was a lot of beans. We ate a lot of beans, I know, and always homemade bread. I don't think I hardly had any bought bread, and we always had our own milk. We had our cows, so we had our own milk, and Mother made things like puddings and different things like that. And when we had a refrigerator, which I told you was run by butane gas,
Oh yeah.
when we had the refrigerator, Mom would even make ice cream in the freezing part of it.
Mm.
It was good. It was she. That was another thing. Dad always liked to have some kind of sweet thing after a meal, and Mother was very good about having sweet things, and she was good about making pudding. She's good about making pies, cakes, cookies, whatever. But
Was she good at making chili rellenos?
You know, when I was young, we never had chili rellenos because we didn't have chili at that time. That wasn't something. But after I was married, then they raised chilies.
Mm-hmm.
They raised the Anaheim chilies, and yes, she was very good. From what I understand, that's what I think it's Greg.
Greg.
Sort of goes to any place. Well, he sort of, if it matches his grandma's, well, then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
And Mother became much more of a specialty after we were older. I mean, after I left and there was less people there, she cooked for people like the Lions, Men's Club, and things like that. I can remember she became the school cafeteria cook, and they always they said that, I've heard people say that was not something like they do nowadays. Her food was, the food that the cafeteria put out was good food. Mm-hmm. She says that people would come, the faculty, whenever they made rolls, were always there for their meal because the rolls were so good. Always lots of rolls. And I know Mom was a good cook. I mean, she just liked it. She would never stingy with things that would make something good. And there for a while, the leftovers from the cafeteria, kids would leave stuff on the plates and they'd scrape it off. And it was quite a bit of time. For quite a while, they would just scrape that all off, and then Mom and Dad would take it home. It was not used for anything, and they would feed it to the pigs.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so they would use it all up. Well, it got around, and I think before she quit cooking, they made her stop doing that.
I wonder why.
Which was just stupid, because people was worried that they would put things that weren't leftovers in it. And even if they did, well, it wasn't being used. So
yeah, go to the garbage.
But it was, I think people got a little bit.
One of the things I remember distinctly about Grandma McCrae was her entries into the state fair and in a plethora of divisions. What got her started in that?
I'm not sure what got her started. And there again, this wasn't when I was young. Mom was too busy doing things and didn't really know about it. It was after I had left home and was married. Now, you got to remember that I'm one of the three oldest children, and so there was a lot of children there still, and Cheryl could I mean, she just knew all about the canning because she was the youngest and she that canned all the time. And Mom canned, when she canned, things had to look perfect. I mean, the beans had to be the same size all the way around. Now, it wasn't necessarily that you had to have the right size inside, but anything that you could see had to be just perfect.
I see.
Peaches had to be pushed to just so. And Mom was very careful, did very good, and she won lots and lots of prizes. She won steaks, what would it be called? Steak, the most important one, and that would be a big ribbon flowerette sort of thing, and that would be the best of the whole thing. And then she got red, blue, and yellow. We have a quilt. She made a quilt for all 10 of her kids out of the red, white, and blue, and ribbons that she had. I have it right in there. You'll have to see it.
Yeah, we'll have to look at it.
And then she and Dad made 2 big flags, United States
In
flags.
addition to the 10 that she gave to her children,
Yeah.
she had enough ribbons
Yeah.
left over to make two flags?
2 flags.
2 flags?
And I think she even had buckets of left over after that. I mean,
Yeah.
they took over a lot of things for the fair. I mean, they almost furnished the fair with all their things. I mean, she didn't can just peaches and green beans and things like that. They had a place where you would have a meal, and she would furnish the whole meal in different things, different kind of meats. She canned rattlesnake.
Yes.
She canned rattlesnakes. She canned all sorts of wild. I mean, the elk, the deer, the moose, the bear. All of that was all canned at certain times. That was another thing. You canned them for sight. You didn't can them for eating. And most of the things, Cheryl told me that most of the things that she would take, she wouldn't feed the family. Because that was for prettiness, and she didn't make sure that they were safe for the family.
Oh,
So sometimes things weren't exactly safe, but they were pretty.
I see.
And so that was it.
Did she do some of the flowers and botany part of that?
Yeah, she did. They took flowers over. They took their nuts over. Dad would take his some of his squash and different produce like that. I mean, they would look and see what won the prize the year before, and then they knew what was looked for, and then that's how they would do it for the next year.
When you say nuts, I think maybe pecans.
Pecans.
Did you have pecans at your house?
Oh yeah. Well, this was after I grew up, and that the home that you knew there in St. David, I never lived in.
You're right.
And so that was where all the pecans were.
I see.
And the home I lived in did not have pecan there, but that was where they got the pecans, raised the pecans, and took them to the fair. The fair was in Phoenix, and they would take a day off to go to Phoenix and take their stuff, and then they'd go and take a day off to go pick it all up.
Wow.
And
it wasn't probably an insignificant amount of money either. They probably made a little bit of money.
Well, they made some money, but I don't think they made anywhere near the money that what it took to do it.
Okay.
I mean, they had to have the things to put in the bottles, put on the things, and then they had to take it over there, which wasn't any small task. And I don't know. I never thought that was what they did it for. They did it for winning the prize, and that was what they did it for. That would be when I would be more like 30, so that would be 1960.
Yeah.
and around through there, which still was pretty good.
One of the other things that I really admire of Grandma McCrae was that she was chosen one year to be the Mother of the Year for Arizona.
Right,
Do you remember what?
1975.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
It was Darla that started that. My sister Darla, she's the one that sort of said, well, so she went around and got the different people to say what was good about Mother, and that the Lions Club, the different principals and teachers that she cooked for, and at that cooking stuff, and just a lot of different people like that. Then that would write letters of recommendation and letters of good things about Mom. So it was Darla that did it, and then she was put in naturally in Arizona. I think it probably went through county and then on up to the state of Union. She and Darla both were sent to Washington, D.C. for the Mother of the Year of the United States. She didn't make that. She was, in fact, I think she told me that she was even a little bit condemned a little bit because she was so proud of her 10 children.
Right.
And that wasn't something that, having children wasn't something that some of them thought was the best thing.
And yet it's Mother of the Year, and you don't get to be Mother of the Year without being a mother, right?
No, you don't get to be.
I do remember her story saying that, I don't know if it was during this time or when an interview with her at that time, or maybe later, but she was her and Grandpa were extremely proud of her 10 children, all able to get education. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, they have. We've all been to the university. All of us have, and we've all graduated. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Francis, Neil, Don, Ray, Rulon, Darla, Bert, Ted. They all have.
Yeah, as I was reading it, she said I think at the banquet there, she mentioned that, well, I have 10 children, that being a really good thing in her life. But then she said all 10 of my children have at least a bachelor's degree from a university. So I think that's fantastic.
Mother and Dad, especially Dad, was very. Education was something that they didn't get. Yeah. Especially my dad didn't get, and he figured that his kids were going to get it. And we didn't all get it from the University of Arizona. That's where I got mine, that's where my sister got hers, but Neil got his at Utah State. He got his master's there. He went there and got a master's. Don got his from the university. Ray, he got a BS, but he never went. He got a bachelor's, but he never went on. He got sick, and then Rulon, he got a master's from University of Arizona. Darla, she got it from Arizona University. They also were the recipients of what they called an aid blanket. This was was given to them for having the most children with the highest grade level.
Oh, wow.
At the University of Arizona. They got 2 of those. This was when I had my brothers were in school, and they were in agriculture, and they knew it.
Wow.
Anyway, they had 2 University of Arizona blankets for having the most kids in school.
Did most of them go to school at the U of A?
Yeah, they did.